Hey everyone, welcome back to Fast Charging with BnB. I am Bear,
And I am Brian.
and we got a show for you today. We got lots of news, lots of things to chit chat about, and we'll give all of you our uninformed opinion about what we think. So I'm pretty excited to share that with you guys.
I just love that our opinions are uninformed.
Gotta be honest, gotta be honest.
Do we? Do we have to?
I think they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out. So what's in the news this week? Nothing big, right?
Nothing big. Geez. So we are going to start with the stupid story first, just because we want to give time for people to get on. And the stupid story, no miracle tech needed. How to switch to renewables now and lower costs doing it. And apparently, all we need to do is snap our fingers. Isn't that right, Brian?
It is. That's true. Well, no, they're saying it would be like $60 trillion to do it, but it would save us $10 trillion a year. So it would pay for itself in 6 years because the tech is there.
Oh,
Now, obviously, we couldn't electrify overnight because we need to build more solar and wind factories. Uh,
do
but
you believe that
do I believe what?
the 60 trillion will save 10 trillion a year?
No,
Okay.
no, I do not.
I work for a company. I won't say their name. I was a contractor, and I worked for them for 10 years. And about every 2 to 3 years, they'd come in and say, "We're going to go have you guys work for a different contractor, and we're going to save $30 million a year by doing this." And then 2 or 3 years later, they'd come in and they'd say the same thing to us. And then 2 or 3 years later, they came back and said, "We're actually going to hire you all on, and we're going to save $30 million a year." So every 2 to 3 years, they were saving $30 million a year by switching everything up. And by the end, they were making money on us, I guess. But it's just numbers, and they're not always correct. So I don't believe that either. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny. Wasn't there another story like this some time ago?
Oh, well, always. But yes, I feel like in 2014, scientists politely remind world that clean energy technology ready to go whenever from our good friends at America's finest news source, The Onion.
So, in case you guys don't know, the Onion is what?
It's not
Satire.
real satire. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, but it's in this case quite true. Again, we're good to go on this end, so just let us know. You seriously should see these new hydrogen fuel cells we have. Anyway, just say the word and we'll start rolling it out.
Isn't it just like a switch that needs flipped?
Uh, Politically, I mean, you need the will, and it's difficult. Uh, so I am seeing on your side that my volume is too low, and on my side, it sounds like they're saying everyone's too low.
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
crank mine up a little, I guess, but it's not going to come through on your end unless you also crank it up.
I,
I
I
don't know.
just I just cranked you up a little bit, so if we can get some feedback.
Real quick, see if that makes any difference. It
Is,
does not.
is there any way you
I
could
can,
just yell?
I can, I can speak louder. How about that?
Yeah,
Yeah. But are there any actual developments in battery land?
yes, there is, and there's actually some quite good ones.
Mhm.
Ford releases new battery capacity plan. Raw material details to scale EVs on track to ramp to 600K run rate by 2023, which is next year, and
Yeah.
2 million by 2026.
Now, when I
Leveraging.
saw this, yeah, I called shenanigans, but uh, by the way, if I get the mic any closer, it comes into frame, so it's in the normal place. I don't know what's going on. The
How's my volume? Is my
it's
volume
so
good?
it's so tricky. When I saw this, I called shenanigans, but then I read into it, and what they're saying is they've got a partnership with CATL, who is the world's largest battery producer, and they're going to be, for most of their vehicles, switching to LFP batteries, which are cheaper, easier to make, and have some of their own advantages.
Yeah, like one of my favorite advantages is being able to charge to 100% and actually get the full capacity of your battery,
Right.
which, as an EV owner, I hate having to charge to 80 or 90%, and you buy a car and it has a range of, let's say the Model Y is supposed to have 326, but you're only recommended by the manufacturer to charge to 90% at the most, 80 on a regular basis. And so you're not getting the full capability of your battery because of the
And you're
type of
not
battery it
supposed
is.
to go under 20%.
Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, when I'm renting out cars, they go under 20% all the time. I am educating a lot of people, but, it's one person at a time, and it's every time.
So Ford is in partnership with CATL. There's also a smaller partnership with LG. And that means that between SK Innovations, LG, and CATL, that's 3 of the world's 6 largest battery producers in partnership with Ford. These supplies are ambitious. I don't think they'll hit it, but the odds are non-zero, which is an improvement.
Yes. I think they actually have a chance of hitting it. The only problem that they'll have is they're going to may run into supply issues with other parts that they need, and that could obviously hold them back. I still have no word on my mach that I ordered back in February. So it's supposed to have been 5 months, and we are past that. So they are having some issues, and like I said in a previous episode of Fast Charging with BnB, I got a email from Mr. Ford saying your car is on the back burner. We'll let you know every 45 days when we're going to unscrew you. So
That's great. Anybody else working on batteries? Because I know that GM trails far behind Tesla in EV sales. And what I love is that the leader, Mary, bet the company,
Mary.
she bet the company that will change. I love how she's betting the company. It's not your company, Mary. If the company fails, do you fail? She's
No.
betting someone else's company.
Yeah,
she's betting the shareholders' company.
Yeah, she's been paid. So yeah, I mean it's a bet that I think a lot of companies are actually making. To put this into better context, I think Ford's doing the same thing. Tesla obviously is all in on EV cells, and so are the other companies. They are always betting the company when you're making a major move like this. Tesla, Polestar, Lucid, their bets are all on EV cells. So it's not really that much of a stretch to say that. It's just a good clickbait article. But GM, Ford, I think they're headed in the right direction, opposed to like Nissan, Honda. I mean, Dodge. Where are their cars? Where are their EVs?
Yeah.
So
Chrysler is, in my opinion, the most likely to not survive the transition on account of having taken no real steps yet.
I agree. And if you look at Chrysler's lineup right now, they're at like 4 cars that they make. They don't make anything anymore. They've got the 300. They've got the Pacifica. The
Challenger and Charger.
those are Dodge.
Oh, well, same company.
It is, but Chrysler just has a very small lineup right now. Very small. And it kind of looks like they're being phased out. And that would be Stellantis doing that.
No one has as many vehicles as we are going to by 2025. I don't care for this approach. I think this is very silly. On the previous page, Ford was saying, you know what, we're going to just go all in on just a few vehicles. We're going to take the Tesla approach. It's pretty far down the page. Oh, maybe I went too far. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's at the top. But yeah, I guess it's right at the top. They're going to do it with the Transit, the Lightning, the Mach-E, and to a much lesser extent, a new mid-sized SUV for Europe.
Yeah, there was talk though about, I think we talked about it, the Maverick and the Ranger.
Ranger, yeah.
Ranger. And I think because they had patented the names with Thunder or something.
Right.
And you know Thunder always comes after Lightning.
Yes.
So it makes sense.
So did you know that GM has landed a cathode supply that could make up to 5 million EVs by 2030, plus a lithium deal.
Yeah. I'm going to say not enough.
5 million for GM. Well, GM hopes to be back around 10 million. They're probably around 7 or 8. That would only be half their fleet, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Globally. So
but
that's
maybe
feels
that's
inconsistent.
maybe that is in addition to what they have lined up. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, they've signed long-term battery-related agreements with LG and Livent. Don't know who that is.
Okay. Yeah, I had to bring up LG. I got to interrupt with my latest LG update. Okay, for those of you that don't know, I have an LG solar battery in my house, and it's been under recall for almost 2 years, I think. Year and a half, I don't know. But I looked into my solar page that I hadn't looked at in a while, and I realized my battery wasn't working, and I went in my house and I looked at it. It's on recall because of heat damage might cause it to stop working. It should have said heat damage might cause it to explode. So I went into the closet where the battery, it's a 9.6 kilowatt battery. It's like the size of a Powerwall, maybe a little smaller in size. But the bottom of the battery blew out and it's non-functional, and nobody will replace this. Even though it's under recall and it's under warranty, LG says you got to find someone to do it for you. I called a bunch of solar installers and they said, nope, LG won't pay us for it. So I have a call back into LG asking about that. Every time I see LG come up in a battery supply for any of these cars, I just go, ooh, I just don't know about that. They tend to blow up. But, I mean, they don't blow up. There wasn't like fireballs and crap like that. But the whole bottom, like this much of the battery, blew out 4 inches down because of heat.
Good grief.
I think I had a Chevy Bolt battery in my closet.
It sounds more like a Leaf. Who is this asked, are we putting any stock in these deals GM signed? They'd previously made deals with other people, like Nikola, that turned out to not be quite as legit. The difference is CATL and LG Chem. LG Chem is a real company. I would assume that a deal with LG Chem is legit.
Unless it's a solar battery. They go boom.
Well, you're not as big as GM in terms of customers.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. Well, and GM is building. They got $2.5 billion government loan to build several EV battery factories.
Yeah, you think they'll pay the government back for that?
I do not. Do you?
No. They didn't last time. Why should they this time?
Right. And it'll get lowest priority. It'll end up being restructured and then restructured again and then forgiven. I think that's what and maybe they will pay it back, but that's,
Yeah, the thing is that's why they have these lobbyists, because this is what makes a lobbyist who gets paid a few $100,000 a year, who's just totally invested on going after these politicians and saying, hey man, let me do this for you, let me do that for you. Hey, can we talk about this loan? Can we get it restructured? Can we get it extended? Can we get it forgiven? You like, from GM's point of view, they put $1 million or $2 million into this politician or a couple of them, and they get a $2.5 billion loan. Psh, waved bye. It's so worth it for them.
It's a great investment.
It really is. I want to be a lobbyist, but I just can't BS like that.
Well,
I would feel dirty.
Soul.
Yeah, I'd feel so dirty. I'd feel like there's not enough toilet paper in the world to wipe my face.
There is. The thing I always heard was Teslas are too expensive because no one's got, 40, 50, 60,000 for a car. The average car is only like 20 grand. And, 2 years ago, it was more like 34, 35.
Mm-hmm.
What's it now?
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's, what is it, like 48,000? What? $48,000 and 48,043.
Well, that's oddly specific.
Yes, that is.
Sources to back that up. Yeah,
Oh,
48.
did I say 17 cents? Because that was on there.
Mm. Yeah, it's cars are expensive. With the chip crunch, are you going to make, if you can only make 2 million cars this year, are you going to make 2 million across the board, or are you going to focus on the 2 million of the most expensive that you can move?
Well, it's been known for quite a long time that the cars that cost more have the higher margins and more profit. So it does make sense that they're not going to be making these cheap cars. If you have only enough chips for 100,000 of something that makes you $10,000, why would you put them in something that makes you $2,000?
And for that matter, the average consumer is paying 1,000 over, which struck me as low until I remembered fleet buyers are paying under.
Are
So
they? Are they?
I assume they still are. Those are contracts you don't want to, well, some of them are already long-term contracts, but you don't want to mess with those customers, because if you lose them, you could have long-term. But anyway, everyone's still paying over 1,000 over Blue Book, over list price.
Over list
Still
price.
at the game.
Yeah, and I've bought numerous new cars this year, and it has been a challenge to get the price down. There's been some vehicles that were very easy, but there was no negotiation. In the past, I used to negotiate till 1 o'clock in the morning. Now it's like, all right, I'll pay you MSRP and nothing else, and we got a deal. And some are saying yes.
Bye. Great chatting with you.
Some are saying yes depending on the vehicle. Others are saying, okay, let me know if things change with you. And I respond back with, no, you let me know when things change with you. But
Hey, bye.
yeah,
Bye. Take care. MD Hofsky pointed out that Ford still has not made any payments on its EPA loan from 2009.
I don't know anything about that. I thought Ford had
Yeah,
paid back all of their loans.
I'll have to look into that too. Are there any cars under 40,000? Any EVs?
Are there? That's a good question. And if there are, what do they look like?
You know, I don't hate the Bolt at all. I think it looks kind of cool.
You know, I saw one in person 2 weeks ago when I was charging up the Ionic, and a lady had just bought one and she was trying to get charged for the first time. She just came from the dealership, and it did not look that bad in person. This picture of this baby blue, whatever the hell this is, this does not look good. But I think they actually look a little bit better in person, the newer ones. But still, I'm not a big fan of this style.
What about the Bolt EUV, slightly larger one?
Um, Let me see. Is there a picture so I can
Isn't
compare?
that the, yeah, it's down on the
Oh,
beach,
okay.
kind of
Well,
beach house.
well, I like the beach house.
I do too.
That is a little bit better. Um,
28,000 there.
yeah, but for me, it's not something that works for my business model. It's not very rentable. There's no tax credit. Uh, so it is rentable, but not for a lot of money. It does not command a lot of like, ooh. There isn't a lot of people looking at that
No
going,
wow factor.
yeah, there's no wow factor.
Nissan Leaf, 28, 29,000.
Being discontinued.
Yeah, and ugly. So ugly.
I don't.
Just,
It doesn't look that much different than the Bolt to me.
to me, it looks like a Prius.
Oh well, it definitely looks like a Prius.
Mazda MX-30.
That thing has no range, does
It's
it?
terrible. I saw a review. I want to say it was Out of Spec Motoring. Kyle reviewed it. And even the people assigned to the event had no love for the car, no passion. It's strictly a California compliance car.
Yeah, which is a damn shame. 100 miles of range, a 6.6 kilowatt onboard charger, which means it's dog slow as far as charging at home. So, battery pack is 35 kilowatts. I got more battery power blown up in my closet. Well, not
Mini
true.
Cooper SE?
Hmm?
Mini Cooper SE?
Another one with horrible range.
Yeah, terrible. And slow. Hyundai Kona? Only sold in a handful of states, interestingly. Must be...
Wait, what's with the eyebrows?
It does have eyebrows. It does have eyebrows.
It's got bigger eyebrows than me, that's for sure.
Design-wise, you made some interesting decisions.
Yeah, they sure did. It shows that it has 258 miles of range. Not bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and at 35,000, if they're available, they'll sell some. It's not super exciting or powerful, but it's great. It's fine. Equinox, can't count it. Not real yet.
Not real.
Fisker Ocean Sport.
Not real.
You're just clowning me at this point. Fisker Ocean Sport. Fisker Pear. Oh, come on. Well, now we're just making stuff up.
Wow, that's straight out of a video game. That's totally not real.
No, that's out of a cutscene. That's not even a playable part of the game.
And then there's honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Well, those are all real cars. Those are all good cars. And especially if you're talking the Hyundai or the Kia or the Ford, actually any of these, you still have the federal tax credit.
Yes.
So pull you right back under.
On
not
all of them.
Buyers, depends on your tax situation.
That's true. That's true. Were you reading the same article that I saw earlier regarding how these tax credits, the way that they're set up, if you don't make a lot of money, even if you could somehow afford to get an EV, the tax credit means nothing to you because you can't use it.
Right, and it still subtracts it from the total available.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's a double whammy. If you're rich, you get $7,500 off your $150,000 car, and if you're poor, you don't.
Yes, the way that the government, in case you guys don't know, have set this up, I believe it's called non-refundable, which means it's not a rebate. It's just it takes it off what if you owe $7,500 in taxes, it will wipe it out. If you had a job where you were going to pay $3,000 in taxes for the year you bought it, then you are going to only get those taxes wiped out. There is no rebate. So
right. So it's a weird deal. But on the plus side, at least most buyers are doing it for the environment.
You would think, right? I mean, honestly, I'm not, to be completely honest. So Polestar commissioned a survey to find out what people are looking for in EVs. Why are they buying EVs? And it was not for the environment. Oh, I got an ad right in the middle. And I clicked on it. Ugh. Okay. Well, that's great. I lost the whole article. Nope, it's back, but still with the ad in the middle. So Polestar commissioned a survey to find out why people want EVs, and 55% of the people who want it because of the electronics and the big screens that are in there. Not for the for the technology, not for the instant acceleration, not for saving money on gas, not for saving the environment. My biggest reason for getting an EV was to save money on gas, and this was a while ago. I'm almost 2 years into.
$2 a gallon ago.
Yeah, it was literally gas was where I live. It was probably about $2.50. So, wow. But it still represented a big savings. So I said, let's go for it. But yeah, I'm actually surprised by this. What about you?
I am a little surprised. I would have thought the cool factor, the speed, the efficiency, all of those things. But I guess I'm not. I'd want to see what the rankings are. Is it technology is barely in the percent with other things? I'm surprised safety doesn't get a big nod because EVs are inherently quite safe.
Well, everybody thinks they're immortal. So they
That's true.
don't look at that stuff as much as you think. There are people that will only buy a Volvo for safety, but you see how much sales Volvo has over the last whatever 40 years, and it's not a lot. I mean,
That's what CEOs buy their wives.
okay.
Yeah, they want their wife and kids to be safe.
Oh, I didn't think that they wanted their wife to be safe. Maybe their kids.
That's probably it. Their wife, their kids, and whoever their driver is. Is it mom? Okay, then her too.
All
But
right.
what about this goofy study we saw here? 14% of Americans want their next vehicle to be electric.
I think that's insanely low.
I think it's insanely low. This is a survey that we saw recently from Consumer Reports, and this is just a clickable headline. That's 14% are saying definitely, while the numbers, 22% would seriously consider. That gets us to 36% would seriously consider or definitely get. But even 14% in a market with 10, 15 million units, that's still more EVs than there are going to be for sale in the next 12 months. So even with the least generous assumption on these numbers, there's still more demand than supply.
Yes. So it's a good idea for everyone out there to buy up as many of these cars as you can and resell them.
There are folks who are doing just that.
Yes, there are. There are. I just read this week about someone buying Teslas and constantly ordering new ones, and then when he gets them in, he flips them. He'll drive them for a couple weeks, and then he'll flip them and make a couple $1,000s on each one.
Wow. How do you get people to buy electric cars, though?
You give them money.
New Jersey will chip in up to $4,000 to help you buy an electric vehicle, Murphy says.
That's awfully nice of them, especially for a state that doesn't have that much money or has a pretty good deficit.
Yeah. And another $250 to install a charger at your home, which of course isn't enough, but it's not designed to cover the whole amount. And another $4 million towards giving incentives for apartment buildings and condos to install charging there.
I think that's the best use. You know I'm not a big fan of government money and things like that, but if there's a good use for it in regards to EVs, it's the apartment complexes, and they would have to be higher end ones like condos that are expensive because the low end ones really are not going to be buying EVs. But I think that would be a good use of the money, because landlords don't necessarily have the thousands of dollars that would be required to put in several or to a dozen charging stations. It's very expensive.
Yeah. So the problem with this program is that it's only 60 million in total, which will go quickly.
Chump change.
And honestly, I think that 60 million should have been put entirely into apartments and condos getting chargers.
Yes. And
I think that would do more, because this money will be long gone even before the current backlog of orders is filled. I don't think this is going to make anyone buy a car. I think it'll just give some people some money.
Yeah. And can't say that hasn't happened to me with the government giving away money. Thanks, guys. But there's another way to get people to buy EVs.
No, there isn't. What could that be?
Start banning gas pumps.
Yeah. U.S. states divided over petrol stations as LA considers ban on new pumps.
You know what? What do you think about this?
I don't think it's necessary. I think pumps will, if you need to build new pumps, it's because you need to get rid of old ones. And I think the market will take care of itself in terms of not building new pumps as they are no longer needed. Artificially constraining the number of pumps is not, I don't think that would help.
I agree with you. I don't think this is people are starting to become resistant to the EV world. We're not starting to. They have been resistant, and it's getting worse to the EVs because they feel like they're being forced to do this. And forcing people into EVs because of whatever agenda you have is not really the way to go. Showing them the benefits and how you can save money, how there's less maintenance, how it's safer, is probably a better way to go. And you're not lying. So banning pumps, I think a good businessman is going to be like, do I really want to build a new gas station? How long is this going to possibly be profitable if people are switching and all these incentives to go to EVs? Maybe instead of pumps, I should put in some EV chargers. Or
Right.
it just doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of requests to build pumps. Now, if you had to replace a broken one, how could this affect that?
So I don't know. And it's not just replacing one. I'm sure you'd be fine. But if your tanks are old and you need to dig it out and rework it, are you going to be able to, or do you have to just anyway? There's carrots and there's sticks, and the carrot is I'll give you $4,000 if you buy an EV, and the stick is we're going to create a de facto monopoly for the existing gas
Yeah.
stations so they drive up prices. Ridiculous. So
Agreed.
we should talk. We should real quick just go over Volkswagen CEO Herbert Diess Nuts to depart. Porsche boss will lead the German auto giant.
Now, there are some rumors that he might go over to Tesla, but then there are some more rumors that said he's going to work out his contract with Volkswagen as a consultant. But it's yet to really be clear what is going to go on with this gentleman.
So his contract, I want to say, lasts another maybe 5 years. And in Germany, the law is that if you fire someone and there's a non-compete clause, you have to pay 50% of their salary for the interim 5 years, or for the term of the non-disclosure, non-compete. So if he's not allowed to go work somewhere else, they're paying him $5 million a year. And if they're actually just honoring the contract, it's probably closer to 10 million. But on the scale of tens of billions, I guess that's not as big a deal, but it sure seems like a painful. But honestly, I don't care. Tesla will do what's right for them. Herbert Diess will do what's right for him. I think that's all we really need to say.
Yeah, and that's all I have to say about that. All right. Thanks, Forrest. So, USPS is starting to pull their head out of their hiney hole.
Of their ice holes?
Of their ice holes. And now half of their next order of mail trucks will be electric. So they're getting there. Remember, these are trucks that last 30 years, typically. They run them for about 30 years before they deposit them in a landfill or recycle them.
They run them to absolute death. They have to.
Yes, they absolutely have to. So why are they buying ice vehicles? I don't understand, because I know Biden said that they're going to not be buying ice vehicles anymore. So I'm just confused on this whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're getting away with buying the ice vehicles when they're supposed to be buying electric.
Well, part of it is practicality. They would have to put in how many chargers in how many locations in a year. And I don't know if you could even buy enough parts to do that.
Well, first question would be, how many have they put in so far?
My guess would be none.
Right. So if you're not getting started on it, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is that's the only government or quasi-government agency dealing with EVs, isn't it?
No, I say no. I'm getting a couple messages about your sound. I'm trying to turn you up a little bit more.
On my side, I think I'm fine, so you got to crank me up on yours. So the U.S. Army bought a GMC Hummer EV for testing. The Army's interested in electric off-road vehicles, and the Hummer EV checks a lot of boxes because it's off-road capable, presumably. It's got a better range than it exists, for one thing, which gives it an advantage over other off-road EVs. And it's quiet. which could be an advantage. Get a bit stealthy there.
Yeah, the quietness of an electric vehicle really has a lot of advantages on the field, of the battlefield. So, is the Hummer EV a good vehicle for that? Well, that remains to be seen. They obviously need a stripped down version of it. If you've ever been in a military Hummer before, and also been in an H1 Hummer that was made for the public, there's quite the difference between the two. So I wonder if they could make a stripped down version, because they don't need the $110,000. Well, the tank turn actually could be very beneficial on the field, but all the other toys.
Yeah, maybe it could, but that's what they'll find out. Yeah.
They don't have that tank turn working yet, do they?
I don't know. I know the crab walk works, I thought. I'm not sure. Tough to say with the huge volumes they've sold so far. We haven't got a lot of real-world reviews of it.
No. And I still haven't gotten mine yet, so I've been waiting weeks, I'd say.
VinFast dropping their $55,500 400 horsepower 369-mile car. What do you think?
I think the car is kind of cool looking. It's not great, though. I did some looking into this because there's a reserve now button there, which means you can order a Vietnamese car. Cool. Let's, I don't know how good or bad it's going to be. It's gotten some decent reviews, but $55,000. Do you notice something on where it says from $55,000 plus? Do you see the plus on the screen?
No. Plus monthly battery subscription. They put it in a different color, and I did not see it.
Yeah. I can't see it without squinting. I knew that there's a monthly battery subscription, and I just noticed it as we were just talking that it says from 55,000 plus, which, you see plus like options and things like that. No, plus monthly battery subscription. For the extended range on this VF9, what do you think that is a month?
Do you know the answer?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to guess stupid and say $100.
Higher.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was $160 a month for the extended range. So that's to get you just over 300 miles. And that $160 a month is probably equivalent to $15,000 in the price of the vehicle. And so how fast is this a supercharged rental battery car? It's 6.3 seconds, 0 to 60. So,
or in modern terms, we say 0 to 60 eventually.
Yeah. So that's not really exciting for an electric car, and that is the all-wheel drive model. So I was very unimpressed with this. Now they try and brag about the fact that you're getting a warranty for 10 years, 100,000 miles, something like that. There isn't much in here showing you what you're getting. These are all...
Train just pointed out that 369 miles is on the WLTP standard.
I was getting to that.
Would like to pretend.
Yeah, so
that translates to an EPA rating, or better yet, real world.
Real world is probably going to be 250 at most. So this was, I was ready to go lay down the $200 for the reservation if all the numbers look good. And as I scrolled through it and I looked at the whole reservation thing, I said, hard pass. This might work in Vietnam or some Asian countries where they may have these subscriptions and it may work for them. But this in no way saves money by, you're not supposedly not paying for the battery because you're paying a monthly fee. So does this really save your money? I don't really think so. Your payment's going to end up being the same. You have no option to just buy the battery, which I would just prefer. They're going to really need to rethink the strategy. I don't think it's going to go over too well in the United States. It might in Europe. I couldn't tell you. I don't know if those guys are used to things like this. But all these micro purchases, what are they called?
Transactions.
Microtransactions. And this is I don't think it's going to go over well, even though all the car companies are leaning towards them for your heated steering wheel and heated seats and things like that, or for your unlocking your car remotely. Chrysler does that. So just I don't think it's going to fly very well. Your thoughts? Concerns?
Well, I clicked on the battery subscription program, and there's two.
Yes.
Flexible and fixed. I'm out. I'm just out.
Yeah. Yes, there was two subscriptions. One was like, what was it, 110?
I'm just so out, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was the size of the battery. So you can get a smaller battery and pay less. Ooh. So
Anybody else?
I would just like to throw all my money that I've ever made in my life and just buy one car.
What car would that be?
The Celestique. Where's my hat?
The Celestique.
Comes with a beret.
Comes with a beret. Oh.
I think the car is extremely cool looking. I think the price is just stupid.
Little batty.
Yeah. But if this
we don't know what the price is for sure, but it's believed to be in the high 200s to low 300 range. Each car is made as ordered with whatever interior you want, bespoke, like a Rolls Royce. And they're going to make so few of them that they're actually building them. The line is in the design studio, which, since it was built in 1956, has never been used as a factory, as a production space.
Yeah.
That's a lot of confidence, my friends.
You know what? Here's my question that's related to this. I mean, don't get me wrong. The car looks awesome. I don't know what the specs are. I don't know any of that. But my question is, why? Why build this now? Why are you putting the money, the time, the effort, the engineering talent into this right now? Are you trying to prove something?
No, it's a test bed. It is their Porsche Taycan, which is where it's like why do it Formula One? Because that technology does filter down into the production vehicles eventually. So I think the answer is this is where they see what can be done and learn some painful lessons that will improve the fleet overall eventually.
Yeah, well.
No?
You know, the line, we're going to need a bigger battery, but instead of boat, there's a lot of lights on this thing. A lot of things going on in there. You know, I'd love to see one going down the road, but damn, it's $300,000 ish.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you could get 2 root canals for that price.
You can get a gallon of milk.
Yeah. So that's disappointing.
It is. Not the car, the price.
Not the price. I could use some good news. If there's
Okay.
anything you could say to cheer me up.
We've never had a story that was good news about BMW. So let's have one.
Oops, all grill. It just keeps getting bigger.
It reminds me of like one of those cartoons with the beaver teeth.
The 2022 iX SUV crushes EPA range estimate in real-world test. Got 62 miles over their EPA rating.
That's nice to see. I wish we talked about this last week. I wish Tesla could do that because I hate getting a lot less range than what I'm told, especially when I can only use 90% of it. So I would definitely like to see more cars crushing it like this. Too bad it's a BMW cartoon character.
Yeah. 500 horsepower, 564 pounds of torque. Yeah, it is what I expect from an electric vehicle of this size in this price range.
What is the price range?
5,700 pounds. Oh, we gotta work on that, guys. That is.
Yeah, that's a
177 miles.
it says here it's only 400 pounds more than the X5
With the V8.
and a full tank of gas.
Yeah.
Seriously, it says a full tank of gas.
Right. But you have, 20 gallons of gas, 8 pounds a gallon. So it's 160 pounds of gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Gotta count it.
so what's the cost of this car?
Oh, who knows, right? I'm not sure. Let's find it. Putting me on the spot. I don't know, 60, 70? What do you think?
$1 billion.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But, it's an expensive BMW. What do you want, man?
I just want to know
The grill. Nigel
price.
points out the grill probably weighs 500 pounds.
No, that's made out of magic marker because it's a drawing, like a cartoon.
Well, we'd get rid of it, but it's load bearing.
Oh God. It's holding the hood up.
It's structural. That's how we reduce weight. It's a structural grill.
Why does this say SUV and the picture doesn't look like an SUV? The first picture, but the second one does. Can we just not see the sides of it?
Yeah, it's a weird lens, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Doing pretty good on time here.
Are we?
So yeah, they crushed it.
No, that's great that they did, and we haven't had too much BMW news that's positive, but I like to see the crushing, and I like to see range. You know that I'm a big range guy, very important to me.
Anybody else getting crushed?
Nice, I like that. Yeah, Faraday's getting crushed.
Yeah. Faraday Future delays their first EV model. Well, now there is a surprise. I for one didn't see that coming.
No, that's totally. I'm totally blindsided. Faraday is running out of cash. They're going to need some more money, and they are trying to raise that cash, which means if you own that stock for more than a couple of weeks, you have lost some money if you sell. And I'm not giving you stock advice, but you might want to look at whether or not they're going to be around in a year.
I can't believe they're around this year.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah, so it looks like they have about $200 million left, and it's going quickly. And we are going to see more and more of this, especially if the economy continues to suffer. It's going to be harder and harder for these startups to actually succeed. So you got to keep an eye on your investments and watch out for things like this.
Yeah. Did you see their self-driving demo?
No, I did not.
Oh gosh, it was great. It was in maybe 2016-ish, and it just was not working. And so they dimmed the lights way down, and it drove itself out. But if you rewind it and enhance, you can clearly see there's a driver.
Was Trevor Milton driving it?
No, I don't believe so, but I'll check.
It's a possibility.
So, any other bad news?
Yeah, there's some bad news for Hyundai. One of their subsidiaries are apparently using child labor as young as 12, which makes sense.
Well, you know how it is in North Korea.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense to me because when I got my new Hyundai, I found some kid toys in the back. There was one of those little phones, those plastic phones with the little buttons on it. Yeah. I was like, where'd this come from? And apparently one of the kids may have left it in the car. So
I found a rescue me note scribbled in crayon.
in Korean, Google
Crayon?
Google
Crayon?
Translate. What does this say?
Oh, well, no, but this is in Alabama.
Oh, in Alabama. Oh,
This happened in Alabama.
that could happen. No
Yeah.
offense to the Alabamians, Alabamanites, or whatever. Yeah.
Alabama ding dongs. I don't know what the correct term is.
Um, I spent some time. I served time in Alabama. Uh,
Serve time.
I served time, basic training. So that's like serving time. Uh,
Hmm.
I've never heard them refer to themselves anything. All I ever heard the Alabamans say was, "You want some grits?" Because they would
Hmm.
serve food for us, and they always offered the grits. So,
If you're old enough to marry your cousin, you're old enough to work, says
oh God,
Fail Trains.
nice.
Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. Well, as usual, that's just probably. Well, I guess I could save that joke for a little later. Uh,
So
let's talk about.
Hyundai still.
Yeah.
Um, this is a review on the Hyundai Ioniq 5. This was from a renter that I had. She returned the car 2 days ago. And her comments were the car is challenging to drive considering my personal vehicle only has a backup sensor, and that's about as high tech as I am used to. The vehicle felt like I was in a spaceship each time after getting the hang of it, of the driving. It was a fun thing to drive. AC was amazing and so needed, and it's very easy. I will say I would suggest anyone who's not driven the vehicle before watch some tutorials on how to drive it. I could not figure out how to put the vehicle into reverse and then put it into park for a good 20 minutes when I first got in. But that's just a learning curve. Yeah, the Hyundai Ioniq, out of all the cars that I have, has got to be the most difficult one to get into and try and drive. I started today's live stream with a poll. Which car is the first car for an ICE driver? And any Tesla got 35%. I think JJ probably voted 17 times. The Hyundai Ioniq was 22%. The Polestar was 17%, and the Lucid Air was 26%. Now I've driven all four of these cars, owned three of them, and I'm going to say the Tesla probably is close to the Polestar. The Polestar is extremely simple, but the Ioniq 5, it's a cluster effort, and there is so much going on that dash and the settings. Everything is completely different. I still haven't figured out how to get it to charge the first time I plug the car in on my home charger. If I go to Electrify America, all the problems are with Electrify America, not with the car. But there's a lot going on. There are menus coming out of the wazoo. The shifter, what this young lady's talking about, if you don't know it's there, it's not what you expect. It's solid. The car is a solid car. It's very well put together. But driving it is one pedal driving. Are you a fan of one pedal driving, Brian?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So this is like one of the pet peeves on the Ioniq is every time you drive the car, you have to actually turn on one pedal driving. It gives you 3 levels of braking, and then a 4th level is to use the one pedal driving. When you put the car in reverse, it turns it off. When you put it into park, it turns it off. So you don't have one pedal driving when you're in reverse, which if you're backing into a spot and you forget about it, you're going to keep backing up because you might take your foot off the brake. So how your brake works changes as you switch the gears. Not cool. So that is one of the things I really can't stand about the Ioniq 5. There's a huge learning curve on that car. That car needs classes. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, good.
Shut up now, right?
Well, it's valuable, and we've spent, I think, an appropriate amount of time on it. Any exciting news about towing?
Yeah. I don't know if you call this exciting. The F-150 Lightning pulling a 4,000 pound trailer, 4,100 dry weight trailer was able to achieve 1 kilowatt per mile or less, 0.9 to 1 kilowatt hour, meaning a 100 kilowatt battery is going to take you 100 miles.
Oh, no.
Or less, because it was 0.9. That is not a large amount of weight, 4,600 pounds. I don't remember what the Lightning is rated at for towing. Do you remember?
I do not.
Okay. But I know it's much higher than the 4,200 pounds that this RV was. So that's not that's not half. Everyone was hoping for half. Though I got to look at one of these things. This picture that he has on here, it does look like there's some mountains, possibly. So a mountainous drive is really going to make a difference. But still, 1 kilowatt is like a kick in the crotch.
Yeah, it sure is. And if you look at the map, you'll see that it is mountainous terrain. It is, you can see contours. But, boy, that's painful.
Yeah.
That's painful. By the way, I did just hear on the chat from who is this? Breaking news: Tesla insurance just launched in Utah and Maryland. Great.
I've thought about getting that.
And Nigel pointed out, shape of the trailer makes a big difference for range with towing. And it absolutely does. Wind is a real obstacle when you get to speed. Now, there's one last super important thing that we need to get to. This was asked in your chat earlier. They are Nikola is 0.25% away from passing the proposal to expand the number of shares.
Yes, they are almost there. We are that 0.25% is the equivalent of about 800,000 shares, which makes it seem like a lot, because it is. That is a lot of more voting that we need to get, and the big problem is the same: is that people who are out of the country are not being allowed to vote. Why? Their brokerage firms are saying no. We're not going to do that for you. And they're saying, so one of them was saying that we'll get you the control number, but it'll cost you $200. Yeah. So the brokerage firms are not working with their clients and causing grief. So there are a lot of people out there who are not able to vote.
It's very frustrating, but it's real close, man. It's real close.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the due date is August 1st, and I'm not sure that that's going to happen by August 1st unless somebody steps up. He goes, yeah, I'll give you my 800,000 votes. Trevor, probably still not watching.
It's going to be him.
Yeah.
It's going to be him.
Stop being that guy.
John asks, how much are they paying Trevor to vote yes? Well, not enough, John. Whatever the dollar figure is, it ain't enough. I'm guessing he's asking for some kind of hold harmless that is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But
and
Nigel says aerodynamics are always important for EVs. They're actually always important regardless of your drivetrain. It's just that EVs are at a point in their development where every last ounce of efficiency is important.
That is a fact. Another fact from Brian.
Chalk it up for me. That's 2 today. Nice. By the way, I had a poll. Let's review it. I'll end it here. How many EVs will Ford and GM sell in 2030 combined? And it looks like the answer is top answer, under 4 million with over half the votes. And 4 to 6 million, 23%. 6 to 9 million, nice, 12%. And over 9 million, 12%.
Well, I've used my crystal ball and I know who's right. So if you voted over 12 million or 9 million, the highest one, you are the ones who are going to be right.
I believe so too. By 2030, they only have to get to 4.5 million each, which would be at that point probably about half their sales.
And if you were watching our story today about how they're securing their battery supplies, you'd know that, hey, there it is right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On your channel, somebody said, Paul said, Nikola will just extend the date. Didn't they already extend it once or twice?
At least twice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
And I believe that that would be what they need to do. I do want to thank our patrons, my patrons, who get early access bonus content and help keep the channel running. You guys are awesome.
that means I have to thank my patrons, right? Q. Thank you, patrons.
Who presents his?
You guys are the best. Brian's not, because he's not a patron, and I'm not his
That's
patron either. So thank you, patrons. We do appreciate you supporting the channel. Every bit helps to pay for our electricity to get out there. And sometimes we have to use a gas car, because sometimes it's not, the electric ones aren't available. So help with the gas money that we need every once in a while. We would appreciate it. And Brian, you've got a live stream coming up on Friday.
Friday at 7 p.m. as always.
And I've got one on Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. And for those who for those who don't know, I don't know how, this is simulcast on Bear's Workshop and My Tesla Live, the second channel of My Tesla Weekend, because we are trailblazers. We learned our leadership skills from Mary.
Mary. Because Mary led. Hashtag Mary led.
And it matters. And it matters. Oh, well, thanks, Bear. Appreciate hanging out with you.
Thank you. We will be back here doing this next Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So please make sure you join us. And everyone, be nice to each other. Don't fight in the chat.
See you later.
Yeah. Bye-bye.